It's 3 a.m. You've been staring at the ceiling for hours. Your body is exhausted, but your brain just won't switch off. Right now, somewhere in the world, a person is dying from a disease that does only one thing. It takes away their ability to sleep. And there is no cure. We treat sleep like doing nothing. For roughly 8 hours a night, you lie unconscious, paralyzed, and completely defenseless. From an evolutionary standpoint, this should be insane. A sleeping animal can't hunt, can't eat, can't reproduce, and can't run from anything that wants to eat it. And yet nearly every creature with a brain does it. Evolution had hundreds of millions of years to delete sleep. It never did. Which means sleep must be doing something so important that nature was willing to leave us blind, frozen, and exposed for a third of our entire lives, just to get it. So what is your brain actually doing while you're out cold? And what happens to your mind, your body, and your survival when you don't get enough? Let's find out in this video about why you have to sleep and what happens if you don't. Please like, share, and subscribe. First, sleep isn't a single off switch. The moment you drift away, your brain begins a journey through distinct stages, and it repeats that journey all night long. As you fade out, you enter light sleep. Your muscles loosen, your heart rate slows, and your body temperature begins to drop. Then you sink into deep sleep, the heaviest stage of all. Your brain waves slow into enormous rolling swells. This is the hardest stage to wake you from. And then something strange happens. Your brain suddenly lights up almost as if you were awake, but your body stays completely frozen. This is REM sleep, where most of your vivid dreaming lives. Your eyes flick rapidly back and forth beneath closed lids. Your mind runs wild. But a switch in your brainstem paralyzes your muscles, so you don't physically act out your dreams. One full loop, light, deep, and REM, takes about 90 minutes, and you'll cycle through it 4 to 6 times every single night. But here's the twist. The recipe changes as the night goes on. Early on, you get mostly deep sleep. Toward morning, the balance tips heavily toward REM. So when you cut your night short, you're not just losing some sleep, you're slicing off the REM your brain was saving for the very end. What orchestrates all of this? A master clock buried deep in your brain, a cluster of cells no bigger than a grain of rice. It reads the light coming in through your eyes and keeps your whole body running on a roughly 24-hour rhythm, telling you when to feel alert and when to crash. At the same time, a chemical called adenosine slowly builds up in your brain all day long. The more hours you stay awake, the more it piles up, and the sleepier you feel. And there's a wildly popular drug built to block that signal, caffeine. It doesn't erase your tiredness, it just hides it, until eventually the dam breaks. Okay, so that's the machinery. Now the real question, why does your brain force you through all of this every single night? Start with a problem. Your brain is one of the most active things in the known universe, and like any hard-working machine, it produces waste. All day, that toxic waste slowly collects in the spaces between your brain cells. Your brain desperately needs to take out the trash, but it can't fully do the job while you're awake and busy. So at night, something remarkable happens. As you fall into deep sleep, your brain cells physically shrink, opening up channels between them. Then a wash of fluid rushes through those open channels, sweeping the waste away, a deep clean that mostly runs while you sleep. One of the things this system clears out is a sticky protein called amyloid beta, the very same gunk that builds up in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Skip the nightly cleaning night after night, and the garbage starts to pile up. But sleep is far more than janitorial work. It's also when your brain decides what's worth remembering. Everything you experience today is sitting in temporary storage, fragile, fuzzy, and easy to lose. While you sleep, your brain replays the day's events and copies the important ones into long-term storage, locking them safely in place. This is exactly why pulling an all-nighter before an exam backfires. Without sleep, the information never actually gets filed away. At the same time, your brain does some pruning, quietly weakening the useless connections so the important ones stand out clearly. You wake up not just rested, but with a sharper, more organized mind. Sleep also resets your emotions. REM sleep, in particular, acts almost like overnight therapy. It takes the raw emotional sting out of difficult memories, so the next day you can remember what happened without reliving all the pain. And it's not only your brain. While you're out cold, your entire body shifts into full repair mode. Growth hormone surges, rebuilding muscle and tissue. Your immune system ramps up, mass-producing the cells that hunt down infection. Hunger hormones get rebalanced, and your heart and blood vessels finally get a break, letting your blood pressure ease down. Put it all together, and sleep is the single most powerful recovery tool you have, and it's completely, totally free. Which raises one very uncomfortable question. If sleep does all of this for you, what happens when you don't get it? Let's start small. Just one bad night. After roughly 24 hours awake, your mental performance drops to about the level of someone who is legally drunk. Your reaction time slows, your focus crumbles, and the scary part is, you don't even notice it happening. You feel fine while quietly falling apart. Worse, a sleep-starved brain starts taking matters into its own hands. It forces tiny involuntary blackouts called microsleeps, moments where you're genuinely out for a second or two, even with your eyes wide open. Now picture that happening at 70 miles an hour. Drowsy driving causes hundreds of thousands of crashes every year, rivaling drunk driving as a killer on our roads. Lose sleep, and the emotional fight-or-flight part of your brain goes into overdrive, while the rational part that's supposed to keep it in check goes quiet. Small annoyances suddenly feel enormous. You're irritable, on edge, anxious, and far more likely to snap. Your defenses fall apart too. People sleeping under 6 hours a night are dramatically more likely to catch a cold when they're exposed to the very same virus. Now stop thinking about one rough night. Think about years of running on empty, the way millions of people quietly live. Chronic short sleep is linked to higher rates of heart disease, stroke, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. In fact, it's so disruptive that regularly working overnight shifts has been officially classified as a probable cause of cancer. And remember that brain waste from earlier. Over decades, poor sleep may help it accumulate, now considered one of many factors tied to dementia later in life. So how far can this go? There is a rare inherited disease called fatal familial insomnia. It slowly destroys the very part of the brain that allows sleep. Its victims gradually lose the ability to sleep at all, and within months, it becomes fatal. There is still no cure. It's the clearest proof we have of a brutal fact. Sleep is not optional. Without it, the body simply cannot keep itself alive. Now, the good news. For the vast majority of us, the fix is completely within reach. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. Keep a consistent schedule, yes, even on weekends. Get real sunlight in the morning and dim the lights at night. Cut the caffeine in the afternoon. And keep your bedroom cool, dark, and free of screens. We tend to treat sleep like a luxury, the very first thing we sacrifice when life gets busy. But it was never downtime. It's when the most important work in your entire body and brain actually gets done. So tonight, when your body finally asks you to stop, maybe let it. Your brain has a lot of important work to do,